morning, everybody. It's your girl Miracle Sims, and you are listening to God, Sex, and Love, your daily dose of inspiration and juice. It is February the 8th. Is that right? February the 8th, 2024, and today the topic is leadership. Yes, yes, leadership. Happy Thursday. Happy Thursday, everybody. I hope that you guys had a wonderful Wednesday. Mine was just fine. I ended up cutting out some of the tasks that I had to do yesterday, so it wasn't as strenuous as I thought it was going to be. But yeah, man, overall, a great Wednesday. Had another amazing conversation for the future GSL talk show. Met another amazing guest. So one that I think, there might be some collaborations with in the future, if the Lord's will. So that's amazing. That's awesome. And then the first Miracle Lab, y'all, the first Miracle Lab of the spring season happened last night as well. So that is another amazing thing that happened. And I guess this word amazing is just my word of the day because I have to tell you guys about something else that happened yesterday. Those that, follow me on social media, you may have already seen the announcement. But for those people that are listening to the juice, let me let you guys know that your girl the show on Saturday is sold out. Man, listen. First of all, to God be the glory and congratulations to the Griffin Opera House. I know that they say that this is a regular thing, I guess, for the mystery shows, but still, I mean, it's still something to celebrate. Again, it's my first time, performing for them. And so, again, I'm glad to see and hear that people are excited about the theme. They're excited about the show. I guess so much so that they sold it out. I know family and friends have been saying, "Oh man, I didn't get my tickets. When's the next one?" Things of that nature. So I hope and pray that all of that is a not to say a good sign, but like a something that the Griffin Opera House is keeping under consideration, so we can secure this partnership and perfectly continue to work together. Look for years to come. You know what I mean? So yeah, man, that's what that's about. I went yesterday to handle some of the final little touches. One thing was getting printables. Now listen, I usually use Office Depot for my printables. This ain't sponsored or nothing like that. But listen, I mean, it's not the first time where I felt like I was an employee of Office Depot because I was just doing so much work. But man, they even cut out some of the stuff that I'm not used to doing. Like, long story short, I get there and they're like, "Oh, you either have to email it or I mean no, not email it. They like you either have to send your things online or print them yourself." I'm like using their system, their self-printing system or whatever. I'm like, I mean, I'm used to just sending them the email of all of my documents, them printing it. I understand if I gotta cut it, fine. You know what I'm saying? But it's like I had to do all of that yesterday. I had to put, upload it to the machine, print them, cut the ones that needed to be cut, all of that. And then I had to leave like half of the documents so they can be laminated. I didn't get a chance to, do everything the way or the size that I wanted it to be because I couldn't resize it on the printer. And it just was this whole thing. So, yeah, so I ended up, leaving out a little bit later than I expected from the store to get to the Miracle Lab last night or the first day of the small group season. But everything got done, and I'm glad because again, that leaves Friday as an open day for me because I should be able to go and pick up the printables today because I was going to wait and do it either today or tomorrow. So I'm glad I went ahead and did it and knocked that out. And so, yeah, man, I mean, it's pretty much showtime. I mean, there's other little touches and things that I was thinking about doing and adding, but they're not going to make or break the show. I don't think so. Maybe next time I'll do those things, but I feel like for this first show coming up, everything has come together beautifully. So I thank God for that. I thank God for, again, my position at the church and things of that nature that assisted with, me pulling this show together. I'm thankful and grateful for the cast, each and every person that has accepted a role in this upcoming show. And yeah, man, we're gonna see what the Lord do, and so I guess this is a great way to segue into this conversation about leadership because um due to the homework, I would say it's more so inspired by the homework that was given by Pastor Kiwan, our fearless leader in the kids ministry at Mountain West. Um, he tasked, you know, us on the team to get this book. Um, I should have brought it over here, but I don't have it in my vicinity at the moment. But basically, it's this book by I guess, former leader of Disney. Um, and things of that nature. And at first when he's talking about, I guess the Disney parts and the Disney brand and stuff like that, I'm like, well, I used to work there. So it's not that I don't need the book, but my thing is like, I used to work there. So I'm familiar with their, bringing magic, you know what I'm saying? And their, what they do, at least from an employee's point of view. But anyway, so I was tasked, one of my homework assignments from last week was to read 2 chapters of this book. And I took the time to do that and whatnot. And so, with those things fresh on my mind, I would say that, yeah, like that's where the inspiration to chit chat about leadership this morning came from. But obviously, I'm going to go deeper about like Christian leadership, biblical leadership. What does that look like as well? Like, don't get me wrong, the book is good thus far. And it's definitely interesting to hear from a leader perspective versus again what I experienced, which was the employee perspective of or quote unquote cast member perspective of Disney and the Disney parks in particular. But yeah, I mean, thus far, I would say the themes that are standing out to me that I'm reading thus far is that he's saying a lot about respecting everybody, and that how everybody deserves respect, regardless of your gender or your race or things of that nature. Um, and I mean the stories that he shared that I guess his struggle to learn that over the years, I guess before he ended up in the Disney position, but he was in different leadership positions that ultimately, the way he treated the people, um, resulted in some violence and things of that nature. And I guess up until his third time experiencing something is when he finally got it that I might need to talk to people and treat people differently as the quote unquote boss or leader. And I find that to be interesting because I mean, I have my own journey and whatnot when it comes to that. I mean, to be honest, those that watch the cast movie, you already got a sneak peek at what some leaders look like in my past. Again, I know people are like, "Oh, you talking about a certain person?" No, again, the character that I portrayed, even though I know I portrayed half the characters, but the main lady, Miss Valencia, that character was inspired by multiple people. So that's what to me that's what make her even more crazy because it's multiple people's my experience with multiple people in a leadership position in one person, the character of Valencia. And so if you haven't seen the movie, go check it out, thecastmovie.com. Shout out to my homeboy Kelvin, that was my co-star and co-producer and co-everything for this movie and stuff like that. I mean, maybe it'll give you guys a sneak peek of what not to do as a leader as well, and whatnot. Sure, I'm talking about the theater world and stuff, but overall, I mean, again, these are things I observe, but I also have observed great leaders, in my lifetime as well. There's again, the lady I deem to be my mentor, Miss D James of Impact Productions, who not only put on professional productions, but, kind of took me under her wing and was there as, someone I could, get advice from and things of that nature. So I would say that she was an example of a great leader. Obviously, of course, my mother and, father and things like that, observing them, running their business, things of that nature, I would say definitely had an influence on me. But I would say those negative people, and I know that's how it kind of is, right? The negative situations that you go through can have a big effect on you, sometimes more than the good. And I guess the thing about me is when I observe things like that, it's like I keep those things in my heart and mind to say, this is not what I want to be. Um, so, for example, when I think about my business, Miracle Plays, and what I try to build and cultivate there and stuff like that, I could totally relate to what the gentleman was saying in the book, because I'm like, okay, these are things I've learned along the way, and these are things that I'm already kind of doing to a certain extent. Not to be like I'm perfect and nothing like that, but there are some things that I'm kind of already trying to establish and whatnot. I just told you guys the other day that me and the young lady that's working with me as my quote unquote virtual assistant at the moment or whatever, we're gonna try to start doing monthly meetings, which I mean that's something I'm incorporating more so because of I guess my experience at Mountain West, but also because I just want to make sure because I would touch base with her and make sure, try to check in alongside of, the work and whatnot we've been doing. But I think it'll be more impactful to, actually take time with her face to face, at least through video, to you know, do that face to face and to, get her feedback. And the amazing thing that I would say that came from that first conversation is hearing her desire to do more. And I find that to be great, man. I'm glad that she wants to work with me, and the fact that she wants to do more, that's an amazing thing by itself. But because again, I've dealt with people that, I guess don't see or get my vision, or maybe they, don't respect, whatever I got going on, whatever the case may be. And then, um, and they've made me feel like even though I've tried to go out of my way, right, to be a good leader and to be someone that shows them, hey, man, you are valuable to me. I appreciate you, things of that nature, that can easily be taken advantage of as well. And so, I get it, like how some people feel like, man, I need to, assert my authority, right? I need to quote unquote be a boss and all these different things that people think, say, and feel. Um, but again, we know that the best leader, the best example of what a leader should look like is none other than our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. And so, y'all, let's go ahead and get into this juice this morning. So, I felt led to look up the definition of leader, and this is what it says: the person who leads or commands a group. And I found that to be interesting that they use that word commands, because I feel like, again, yeah, that's what people think of when they think of a quote unquote boss or leader. They thinking of somebody that's, um, I guess, in authority. Maybe it has a commanding nature, barking out orders. Like, I think that sometimes people, I mean, definitely there's a lot of people that take that type of approach. And I found it to be interesting. So I was like, let me just go ahead and look into the biblical definition, because I know that I already know that that's completely different. And so I ended up coming across the biblical definition of leadership. And it says, stewarding one's God given gifts, abilities, and opportunities, and using them to influence and serve others. Um, so it's not commanding, right? It's serving more so than anything, the Christian leadership style. That's what Christ did. We know, obviously, he showed grace and mercy to all of us. But I mean, when it came to those disciples and those people that he was like right there with him in the struggle or whatever the case may be, um, we know the great vision of him washing the feet, and that is something that I'm going to talk about in a second. But um, again, I can only imagine, again, back in those days, they said that that was one of the lowest, the lowest slave would do that, right? Or quote unquote, the lowest servant would, wash the feet of people and things of that nature. And so for Christ to humble himself to do that to each of the disciples, including the one that he knew would betray him and things of that nature. Again, that should speak volumes and show us what we should be and how we should be as leaders. Um, Let me go ahead and share with you guys one of the first verses that was standing out to me to share this morning, and that's First Timothy 3:2. It's talking about, an overseer and what that should look like. Now, of course, again, when it comes to, the leadership of the church and things of that nature, there's these specific things, but I still think that there is something that we all can learn, regardless of who you are, especially if you desire to be a leader. I think that these things can still, you know, um, benefit us to look at what an quote unquote overseer um, should look like. So this is what it says in 1 Timothy 3:2. It says, therefore, an overseer must be above reproach, the husband of one wife, sober minded, self controlled, respectable, hospitable, able to teach. And it goes on and on beyond that. But there's things there, of course. Now, I mean, as a woman, I guess I can't never be nobody's, husband and things of that nature. So, I mean, of course, you got to fit it to you, and specifically when we're thinking about, again, the leadership just part. But again, aside from that particular statement, the rest of the statements, I think, again, if you desire to be a leader of any kind, these things can help you. I found it interesting as I was writing this verse down this morning that I was reminded of the conversation I had with my husband yesterday morning. And again, he was pretty much I guess trying defending a certain individual because he said, we all fall short, right? So we should be forgiving people and stuff like that. The person may have just done this one thing. It's like people are coming at the person, da 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 da. And I'm like, I get that, and you're right. We should forgive, we should show grace and mercy to people X, Y, and Z. But at the same time, we got to understand that people in leadership positions, people in the positions, maybe you're in the public eye or whatever the position might be, that you're going to be held to a little bit higher standard than the normal average Joe, as they say. So again, it says here the overseer must be above reproach, and that's pretty much what I see and hear when I'm reading that is saying that again, if you are in a leadership position, you need to be above reproach. You need to be you're going to be held to a higher standard. Why? Because you're a leader, you're a teacher, people are watching you. You can easily become a stumbling block by falling short and not being who God created you to be and not doing it well, right? And things of that nature. So that's something to think about. If you're truly thinking about becoming any type of leader, it doesn't matter what the leadership place role is. I mean, all are important. So, that's another thing as well. We're so caught up in titles. We're so caught up in, being a boss and being a leader or whatever that we're missing the overall thing. Like the overall message of being a quote unquote leader is truly being a servant, at least according to Christian standards. But yeah, all of those rest of those things, again, like I said, you know, but even the husband to one wife thing, like that's something as well. Because again, with all these different ideas and people try to do all kinds of things, it's like if you can't manage your household and be the husband to one wife, and you got to be, the type of person that you want multiples and things of that nature. And don't get me wrong, I joke every now and then about, man, I might do need about 2 or 3 husbands, one for this, one for that. I joke every now and then about some stuff like that. But at the end of the day, again, what kind of leader would I be, right? What kind of mother would I be? What kind of wife would I be to spread myself thin in that way? And then it seems like you're wavering because even, oh Lord, I was thinking about like the dating world, but aside from the dating world and whatnot, but even like it seems like again just having one spouse is already a lot sometimes. You know what I mean? Like I got to be there to encourage and inspire my husband and try to, even though I feel like I feel like I'm not even the person that encourages and inspires him. I probably encourage, inspire whoever listens to the sound of my voice more than I feel like sometimes I encourage and inspire him. Now he probably would say completely different. He probably say, "Oh, you encourage and inspire me all the time." But the way I feel is that again, my style is different from how he would do stuff and things of that nature. So I try to encourage and inspire, but at the same time, I allow him to lead and make his choices and things of that nature as well. But what I'm saying is I can't imagine like somebody really truly being able to cultivate a marriage, right, with multiple people. You know what I mean? Of course you're gonna have issues. Of course there's gonna be, situations between the people that you're dealing with. Of course you're gonna be spread thin. You're one person. I'm already, I mean, and not just being like comparing to me, but people already have issues with dealing with one spouse. So again, that's a huge thing as well. Like that the overseer or the person in leadership position should be the husband to one wife. That's what it says. But the rest of those things, again, sober minded, self controlled, respectable, hospitable, able to teach, like all of those things are great qualities in leadership. Matter of fact, another thing that I was noticing, and I feel like it kind of piggyback on some things I was hearing yesterday. But when I read the book this morning, or whatever the case may be, it was talking about how um, it's best to be like a good mother, right? Or a good father, a good parent in regards to the way the style of leadership. Like that's the type of uh, quote unquote boss that we should be to our quote unquote employees or things of that nature. Um, and I don't think we think about it like that, right? Like, how would you treat your child? And you're there to lead, guide, encourage, but at the same time, you're also there to correct and things of that nature and whatnot as well. And so, um, yeah, you don't have to be that quote unquote controlling, commanding, authoritative, barking at people person. Like you can be more so of a father or mother to your people and encouraging and inspiring them. And according to that book, it was talking about, that is the way to get, great work out of people. But speaking of that, let's go ahead and talk about Jesus, right? Because again, he's the best, example that we can have. So John 13 through 17, it says, "You call me teacher and Lord, and you are right, for so I am. If I then, your Lord and teacher, have washed your feet, and you also, excuse me, washed your feet, you also ought to wash one another's feet. For I have given you an example that you also should do just as I have done to you. Truly, truly, I say to you, a servant is not greater than his master, nor is a messenger greater than the one who sent him. If you know these things, blessed are you if you do them." So at the end of the day, again, he says, "Do as I do. If I'm washing your feet, then you need to wash each other's feet." And again, we people don't want to humble themselves into a servant's position. We like to be served, right? We like to be, again, the boss, the whatever the case may be here to be at my beck and call. And then we don't want to be at nobody's beck and call. And if that's you, then that's your leadership might not be for you right now. If that's you, you know, um, because again, like if I sit here and think about the gentleman, anytime that he tried to, um, you know, pretty much get in people's faces or, be disrespectful and handle people in a disrespectful way, it didn't look good for him. He got hit upside the head with a bottle, all these different type of things. Now, if he had to manage the situation a little differently, maybe as a father or mother would have handled the situation, um, then maybe, the employees would not have responded in such a way. And that's the thing, like at the end of the day, everybody has individual goals and dreams and visions. Like that was another thing that I was talking to my virtual assistant about the other day. I was like, "Hey, I know you're working with me and you're helping me to, build my thing and things of that nature. But what is it that you enjoy doing? Like what is it that you desire from this partnership that we have, and things of that nature." And like I said, she made those things known and stuff. And so and honestly, again, the thing she made known was still more so things like, not just say for me. I think she ultimately wants to build her skills and things of that nature for her own business endeavors, but at the same time, there are just things that are going to also benefit me at the end of the day as well. She wants to take on more responsibility. That means I can alleviate some responsibility for myself and be able to focus on, the other things that God has me doing and things of that nature. And so, I don't know, man. All of this is coming to be a great example of what leadership should look like. Um, and so I hope that you guys are encouraged and inspired, especially if you are interested in being any type of leader. You can always go deeper. There's plenty of verses in the Go Deeper section. And then there's that article that's at gotquestions.org, and it's called "What is Christian Leadership?" There was a lot of things there. I was going to share those things, but then I just felt led to just let you guys go. Those that really truly want to seek, learn, and all that type of stuff, then you're going to go to gotquestions.org and check out that article for yourself because it's really good. And it has some, I believe, some practical ideas and things to think about when it comes to Christian leadership. And that's the juice, y'all. That is the juice. Now, the Bible verse of today is Micah 7:18. It says, "Who is a God like unto thee, that pardoneth iniquity, and passeth by the transgression of the remnant for his heritage? He retaineth not his anger for even because, or excuse me, forever, because He delighteth in mercy, friends. I hope you all enjoyed this juice this morning. Thank you so much for listening to God, Sex, and Love. Your daily dose of inspiration, that juice. I pray you guys can go forth and have a wonderful day. And I look forward to talking to you all tomorrow, if the Lord's will. Now, y'all know tomorrow is Friday, right? So we have a new episode of the GSL Talk Show coming out. It's with Miss Sally Guyman. Hopefully I'm saying her name correctly. I said it right on the show, all right? Miss Sally Guyman or Gimmon. But either way, she is a real estate investor and much, much more. So you guys can check out that episode to hear all about her endeavors and ways to make more money or whatever the case may be. Look, this is the second financial, I guess, freedom type of, not juice. Episode, GSL episode in a row, because last week we had a financial advisor. So this week we got a real estate investor. So I hope you guys are checking out these episodes, man. Amazing, amazing conversation and people on the GSL Talk Show. So yeah, that's coming tomorrow, Friday at 7 p.m. But y'all have a wonderful, wonderful day, and I look forward to talking to y'all tomorrow, if the Lord's will. Bye-bye. And there you go. Facebook, YouTube, Rumble, anybody listening to the sound of my voice. I hope that you all are encouraged and inspired. Thank you so much for listening, watching, subscribing, and sharing all those wonderful things. Today's Thursday, so I have to go to work, and y'all probably heard my alarm, so I need to go get ready. But aside from that, man, we're gonna see how everything goes. I know disco day is coming up, so we got to get that together. Get the scenery and setting together. My hand is itching as well. You know what they say that mean? And if so, Lord, thank you, Jesus, in advance, But yeah, man. I'm gonna let y'all go because I'm just sitting here thinking and rambling at this point. But yeah, man, I look forward to talking to y'all tomorrow on Friday, if the Lord's will. Y'all have a great day. Bye.